Okay, so it seems that Candace Bergan is the interim leader of the Conservative Party right now. I've always really liked her and really respected her. So today, is happening? Trudeau's showing up on video, and she said to him just a very simple question, like, "Look, we understand that you don't agree with what the truckers are saying. They're standing out there. You don't agree with what they're saying, but don't you think it might help if you could give them some indication that they've been heard?" And most likely they're listening to this. You know, isn't it, the great thing that voices be heard, right? I'm sure you've heard him say that a million times. And so she asks them, will you at least listen to them? And this is how that goes.
Question orale, the honourable member for Portage District.
The protest outside is now in its fifth day. I know the Prime Minister doesn't agree with the truckers and their supporters, but he does have some responsibility as a Prime Minister to help bring some resolution. Can the Prime Minister tell this House and tell all Canadians if he has any plans to help these folks feel like they've been heard? Does he have any plans to bring some resolution to the situation that's going on right now outside?
The right honourable.
And so, no, he didn't. He changed the topic to something else for a while. I'm going to fast forward this, and we'll see what he says. So he gets around to the actual question, and the actual question was, could you listen to them so they could at least feel heard? And this is his answer.
In regards to the vaccine mandates, we had an election on those 6 months ago, and Canadians overwhelmingly supported politicians who were firm that vaccinations are the way through this pandemic.
The honourable member for Portage District.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do thank the Prime Minister. We're not fully able to hear his answer, but I heard the beginning of it in the end, and I do thank him for the remarks he made about the member from Durham, and we really appreciate that. I do want to go back to the issue at hand, and I totally get, and I think we've all heard the Prime Minister doesn't agree with the position of these protesters. I think that that's clear, but he has a responsibility as Prime Minister to help bring some resolution. And if they feel that they've at least been heard, they could maybe start to make some plans to go back home to their families. So what is his plan to bring some resolution to this impasse?
The right honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, from the beginning of this pandemic, we've been focused on encouraging Canadians to do the right things, to be there for their neighbours, for the frontline health workers, the vulnerable people in their families. That means following public health advice. That means getting vaccinated. That means being there for each other as communities in respect and in support.
And so that's it. That's it. He doesn't answer the question. Doesn't seem to acknowledge that there's any that there was any point to the question. After all this talk about, we need to hear everybody's voice and all that, like, who wouldn't agree to that? People want to hear their concerns addressed. A lot of these guys are probably really concerned about, their kids missing school, and they're worried about, economic damage of this thing. They're worried about the boredom and the loneliness and the anxiety that people are suffering from. And they want a leader that will respond to them. And so this was his response. His response is, I'm going to ignore even that point. Not even going to acknowledge that people deserve to be heard. He didn't hear that point, and if he heard it, he didn't understand it. And if he did understand it, he just said, you guys can go, do whatever you want, because I could care less. What a monkey.